Hello and welcome to a universal conscious radio station. One that's not too woke, not too asleep, it's not too high, it's not too low. Welcome to a radio station that is center wing. It's about modern millennial people, not those baby boomers. And it is not mainstream radio. This is Adult Radio CFTG, summoning the forces of the universe to deal a logical blow against those who would keep us broke and make life suck every fucking day. So what we say to that is quite simple. This broadcast is protected under Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and we're going to use media covered under international fair usage copyright law. And those outrageous statements will pave the way for the next hour while we talk about solutions, how to invigorate the government to grow the fuck up and quit being such assholes, and how we make sure the corporations stop being so greedy every fucking day. This is CFTG, the Conscious Revolution. Welcome to our Hump Day, This Sucks a Lot Less show. Because it does. This broadcast is guaranteed to suck less. And remember, you will lose weight, and not have to pay as many taxes. You will be more popular. Celebrities will invite you over for dinner and hot tubs just because you listen to CFTG. Results might vary, but stick with us. Hey, you never know. Hey, did you know that the world is waking up? Oh, yes, it is. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Radio Free Canada, all millennial rock and roll radio with a little bit of a twist that just isn't mainstream. If this is the first time that you've tuned in, remember this. We're not going to sell you anything. We're not going to tell you to buy something to feel better. You're fine the way you are. You don't have to lose weight, look great, buy the shirt, buy the pants, buy the car, buy the blah, 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 blah. You're fine the way you are. And no, you shouldn't take a vacation to somewhere cool to get a hangover that costs too much. You can do that at home, but maybe make your life suck less. I'm sorry. Can we say that again? Okay, maybe life should suck less. Maybe we shouldn't always be worried about prices, worried about more greed from the oligarchs, okay? Maybe we shouldn't get an education and have it be useless, and then use that education to get a job at Starbucks. Maybe we shouldn't have swallowed that bullshit in high school when they said, oh, if you get this, you're going to be fine. You're not. But you will be as soon as we fix all this shit. So what we're going to do for the next hour is I'm going to play some really cool music. We're going to talk about real solutions and attitude adjustments. And we're going to talk about those things that they can't talk about in mainstream. We're going to talk about religion and politics. Lined up on the music right here today, we've got Van Halen's son. Yes, Wolfgang Van Halen coming up. One of the songs that's just rocking on the album that he released earlier last year. Greta Van Fleet lined up for you. And we're going to do some retro flashbacks music, some really pertinent stuff to what's going on right now. A lot of it's off the vinyl turntable, so make sure you enjoy the snap, crackle, and pop like we do. Because vinyl just sounds better when you have a conscious revolution. Okay, making Wednesdays suck less. Welcome to the show, and let's get into it. Coming up next, I'm going to highlight the fact that we can't afford rent, and 4 people have to, get together to pay rent on one place, let alone getting a mortgage, right? So that's like true story, okay? How to get lower rent prices and lower food prices all at once. Solutions first at CFTG, because we're going to make life suck less. Music right there. That's the sounds of that's the sounds in the background noise, brought to you by an analog radio or an analog turntable that's interacting with our digital system, and it gives us this cute little buzz that we were supposed to get rid of, but we didn't because actually, it's entirely my fault. Hi there, my name is Darren Howard. This is Radio Free Canada. We're going to save the world in 1 hour. And actually, we're going to do it in less than an hour now because we spent the first 4 minutes just screwing around and enjoying the fact that we can save the world. And we're just going to save it from some evil bastards who aren't that smart anyways. I mean, you got a really good system, right? You monopolized the food system, you monopolized food, you monopolized real estate, but you just got greedy. You can still be there. You can still be making money. You can still be rocking. Instead, you're facing the greatest backlash against any system that has ever been seen. The one story that they really don't like to produce, but they have to produce continuously because it's true, is millennials are not buying into it. Millennials are not buying cars, they're not buying houses, they're not buying vacations, they're not buying credit cards, they're not buying second homes, they're not buying third mortgages, okay? Millennials aren't there. They weren't invited to the table. They were told everything is responsible because of them. And when the person dies, he leaves a table that's literally on fire. And then, the government steps in and says, why did you start this fire? And the millennial looks and goes, What the fuck are you talking about? Well, everything's your fault, you know. No, it's not. Basically, the central bank in Canada, the Bank of Canada, and then the subsidiaries, like the Bank of Montreal and the Royal Bank, they only fund corporations and people who cause poverty because that's a profit system. That profit system works for what they call an economy, and that's it. Don't overcomplicate it and say interest rates and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Know that they made this economy up from nothing. It's called fractional reserve lending. You can look it up. It's first-year economics. They make money up from nowhere, give it to the wrong people who do the wrong things with it. You want to sum up why we pay too much rent? The wrong people are doing the wrong things with the wrong money. That's it. And they're a very small number of people, baby. Oh, yes. The one thing that they don't want you to think about is the fact for every 10,000 people going hungry, there's only one landlord who's actually making any money. And then out of all of those people, remember, shareholders, stuff like this, they've allowed that bullshit to come into the money situation, with the rental situation, and we're screwed. Today, Canadians got $500 if they're renting, and they qualify underneath a very stringent system to qualify for $500 for rent relief. That does nothing. For real families that are renting, and I am one of them, it actually buys some groceries in those, places where they've monopolized the food system and then got greedy. All they're doing is dumping money into landlords who are already profitable and food systems that are already profitable. They're just handing them directly the cash because 1 in 5 children go hungry in our friendly first world country. You want to talk solutions? The one thing they are scared to death of is that I say the following thing. Every last person who's fucking us over using this system of greed called the economy have names and addresses. And they should probably change their mind. So let's talk about it. You want a revolution? Peaceful?
That's how the hustle goes. A world of animals. Really wanted you to know now. I know it's rational. You think it's criminal. Just shut your mouth and show you're able. Another mother code. Just what you said. That's enough. You're just like someone holiday. That's enough. Don't go away and throw it away.
Mammoth, WVH, it's right here. It is. That is one of the best songs on the album, right? You know, it's on side 3. First song is side 3 on side C. And Mammoth, WVH, is just one of those solid things. Mammoth, of course, is Eddie Van Halen's son. Eddie Van Halen, Valerie Bertinelli got together, had Wolfgang Van Halen. Everybody watched, okay, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's the son of Van Halen. And they're like, oh my, he must be a guitar prodigy, and we're looking for amazing things. And then Wolfgang Van Halen is a real guy, okay? And when you listen to him and you listen to the things, he's not some preening rock star, and he's certainly not riding off of his dad's coattails. He has defined a new sound, and the first album that he came out with on orange vinyl, by the way, which is just fucking godly as far as real DJs are concerned. It's just like, you took it seriously, fuck yeah. Your first album came out as a collector right away, and the sounds on it, I've been playing it, and we discovered this one, and we were like, wow, this one really fits our sound. It's got that heavy, solid sound. Anybody can get behind this one. It's one of those songs that you can play on the highway. You're doing about 250 miles an hour, and you're just having a really, a great day. Okay, that fits into that. That's why I do. And if you listen to the sound that we have at CFTG and you got some input and you say, hey, man, this is a really good song. It just got skated over. And I'm like, yes, I will play that because it's cool. Because that's what they don't do in mainstream radio. The hamster sits there, waits for the light to go on. The light goes on. The hamster talks. The light goes off. The hamster doesn't. Everything else is done by the computer, including the music. Have you noticed that the DJs are so pathetic? We've got a local radio station where I turn it off because the DJs are not connected to the music in the slightest. They are not music fans. Okay? They don't love fucking rock and roll. They don't go out. They don't listen to great rock and roll with friends. They don't go to the concert. You can tell by what they talk about that they are not part of the music jump up and dance around system. They're part of the depression cynical system, and I just turned them off. They've got great production, though. The little quips that they have at this radio station, the little cute little amusing things, are great, but it's wrapped around with their commentary being cynical and defeatist. And I pointed it out. My wife looks at me and goes, yeah, now that you pointed out, every time they fucking turn on the radio, they're bitching and saying this is what's wrong. They never talk about the solution, which is... everybody's just got to fucking show a little self-discipline and actually love each other, share, and, fucking move on that basis instead of reality TV greed, violence porn, or what the news is telling you is important. Okay? That's exactly what we need right now. You want to talk about a real solution to everything I was just talking about is a 5% shift away from greed and violence to something real. Kindergarten rules, sharing, caring about each other, taking personal responsibility, shit like that. Now, I've got a song. I'm going to highlight the reason why things are fucked and they suck. And the real way we're going to get things to suck less. Lower prices at the grocery store, lower prices in the rent. We can do it peacefully without one shot fired. But the most important thing is I'm going to play you a revolutionary song that pissed off the establishment to no end, to the fact that pastors were preaching against it in the 1980s. They were saying it would undo civilization. It would suck so bad. The song is about premarital sex. The song is about throwing off the chains of authority. The song is about outrageous behavior by young people that's going to set a precedent that will upend their entire culture. I'm playing this song right now. This is CFTG. This is how the revolution works. It's by upending the system and raising a great big middle finger to those people screwing us over and playing songs like this.
I'm alright, nobody worry about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Can't you just let it be? I'm alright, don't nobody worry about me.
Right there, Kenny Loggins, I'm All Right, the most revolutionary song. That went to number one, and it was awesome because when I was working there in radio at that time, when Kenny Loggins was out, and the religious people just lost their crap, okay? The Caddyshack, that was the movie that was like Ivan Reitman, just an amazing movie because it was shaking up the norm. It was doing the Mad Magazine thing. It was an irreverent look at exactly what happened for real at country clubs where people used to get all dressed up and they looked so good. Oh, and they were so polite, and they would just get rolling down drunk and make asses out of themselves in the private country clubs. And it was closer to the truth of what was going on than what they were trying to make perceive go on at these places. You know, the rich people always think that they just don't stink and that they don't do what they do, you know? And I don't know why that is. The richer you are, the more drugs you're on. Okay, as the more depression you are, there's been psychological studies of people and mental health, whether or not they have emotional intelligence. And the richer you are, the less you score on all of it. And they don't even look at that. They just say, oh, yeah, but I'm wealthy. I would rather cry in a Ferrari than laugh on a bicycle. That's bullshit. I was listening to Gary Vee. It was awesome. He had this video on, and he said, you know what? Fuck that. Crying means you're right at the bottom, man. Fuck. It doesn't make any difference if you're sitting in a Ferrari or sitting on a bicycle. It doesn't make you feel better because you're dying. It's the end, man. Yeah, I know that feeling. Fuck, I was sitting there, 1980s, okay, alcohol, drugs, successful rock and roll life, okay. I took some of those elements with me, but I left the shit behind where I was fucking sitting there at the bottom of my game because I lost a job or I lost a girl or I fucking, okay, I stubbed my fucking toe in an emotional way, and it was the end. I was like thinking this is bad. And I'm in my 20s, and we're making, in relative sense, about $40,000 a year. And I'm in my 20s. I'm totally unqualified. I'm just fucking in the bar industry. That's for real. We were depressed, man. We thought we had things to fucking cry about. But Caddyshack came out, and it was a really good laugh. But the entire establishment lost its shit because teenagers got sex before marriage. Somebody didn't get pregnant, and they got away with it. It was about chaos and just a big finger to the system. So when I set it up like that, I'm laughing because most people are expecting the Ramones or something like that. Nope. Kenny Loggins and his politically correct stainless steel self. Yeah, he plays the trail of badassery, baby. It was mainstream. Fuck the system, baby. It was 1980s. Kenny Loggins, man. He was such a pretty boy, okay? He really was. And I mean that in the best possible way. Not to be offensive to people who are handsome and get dressed up. There's nothing fucking wrong with that, okay? But I don't know, you know? So whatever. I love them all. I love you. That wasn't my point, okay? But all of a sudden, hey, I'm going to detract such a dude, total ADHD for a second. Do you know why I stopped? It's because I said pretty boy. And that was a derogatory statement to people who are good looking and get dressed up and go out and look good. You know, I honestly do think it's fucking rock and roll when society starts getting respectful, and when I'm talking in the general public like I am right now, I'm really aware of the fact that I don't want to offend and say fucking shit like that anymore. Okay? I do respect all of my friends, and I work with waiters. Some of the waiter friends with mine, they get the job because they are just beautiful people. Okay? We understand beauty as a concept. But, you know, to totally derail and say, what are we going to save the world with? Yeah, fucking respecting people and always talking in a respectful manner. I apologize then formally right now to Kenny Loggins for being beautiful and getting dressed up. I shouldn't be calling him pretty boy. But honestly, he's so good looking for some of the guys. And I know some of the guys swing that way. I'm fine with that. That's the chub for them. And I'm thinking, man, we've come a long ways, because it used to be when I was on the radio, especially on the Howard Stern type thing, fuck, you could say anything like that. I'm not saying that, man. Okay, so try not to offend people. Please don't get online and say I fucking suck. And you know what? If you take my words out of context, I'll play the rest of the clip. I dare you. Go ahead, misrepresent me. Pearl Jam. They wrote an excellent album. And this is Jeremy. If you don't know the words, I want you to look them up. It's CFTG. Coming up next, how to save our homes and stock less at home.
At home, drawing pictures of mountain tops with him on top. Lemon yellow sun, arms raised in a beam. The dead lay in pools of maroon below. Daddy didn't give attention, oh, to the fact that money the lion gnashed his teeth and spit the recessed lady's breast. How could I forget? And he hit me with the surprise left. My jaw left hurting, ooh, dropped wide open, just like the day, oh, like the day I heard. Daddy didn't give affection.
music from Pearl Jam, the 10 album. This is Jeremy, and it was one of the most powerful songs that there was released on FM at the time. And what it was talking about, of course, was mental health issues within, and also the parental influence and how people were being raised at the time. Narcissistic self-involvement in every generation right there. Simply because we were raised by a generation that was so uptight, but it so thought itself successful. They said, well, we won a war. Therefore, the way that we think, Christian conservative, is successful. And the core group that, form our government today and have on purposely put themselves in front of school boards, the core group that formed our dysfunctional society were Christian conservatives. Business got done in the church lobby. That's the way it went economically. We know it. It shifted away in the 1970s and 80s, and it's gotten worse since because they use the same philosophy that everybody sucks except us, and if you have cash, you're blessed by God. That's the way our entire government was formed, and that's why they treat homeless people as poorly as they do today downtown. That's why we formed hashtag Defund City Hall. We're going to start talking about who enforces what laws, and we're going to be hitting the streets around the Calgary area. If you're interested in volunteering and helping us out with our little campaign here, it's www.positive-action.ca. Radio Free Canada on Facebook. I'm Darren Howard, a real person. Yes, I do answer mail. At Positive Action U on Twitter. And on TikTok, once again, I'm Darren Howard, a real actual person. Just getting that one going again. And YouTube, of course, as long as we're able to stream, you're going to be able to pick up our radio here and always go back to previous shows, check my facts, find out if I'm telling the truth, and if I am, thank you very much. And if I'm not, please send me the correct answer. Because being a journalist and a manager, a bar manager, I would rather be right and wrong. I'd rather be wrong and corrected than I would rather that a system doesn't work. The reason why I'm really doing this is because, in essence, I'm a bar manager. And if you know us, you know one thing. We have to solve the problem. We do, and we make money just with real people, okay? Entry-level people who can run million-dollar machines, and they are capable of doing the very complex task of making food and making drinks and delivering them to tables. Yeah, it's complex. It's hard. Okay. But the way that they treat people and the corporate nightmare that is the restaurant industry is one of the things we're going to first talk about. And we're going to talk about the fact that City Hall shut down 10,000 restaurants during COVID for no reason at all, as far as I can see, because the mortality rate didn't go up. And the hospitals were never swamped. So that's the mainstream. That's the way we're going to look at things from the mainstream center wing. Just statistics. No right wing or left wing nuttery here. We're going to talk about reality. And we need help doing it locally and nationally with your likes and shares. And so one of the first times I'm actually going to say it. Your likes and shares really help. Please stay tuned. And, suck less. Today, when you're on Wednesday, suck less. Or how about suck more effectively? How about suck really good, but don't suck really bad?
It kills me not to know this, but I've all but just forgotten what the color of her eyes were, and her scars or how she got them. As the telling signs of age rain down, a single tear is dropping through the valleys of an aging face that this world has forgotten.
Welcome to the show. Glad you're hanging out. I really like having cool people around me. Thanks for being cool. We'll be right back with something important.
Reconciliation that will put me in my place, and there is no time like a present to drink these drained seconds. Seldom do these words ring true when I'm constantly failing you. Walls that we just can't break through until we disappear. So tell me now.
That is one of those songs that you just cannot play enough when you're doing the heavy rocking thing. I'm Darren Howard. It's Radio Free Canada. That is Rise Against Savior. Just make sure you keep that one around for the summertime, the barbecue time, the anytime, the dancing around in your kitchen time, the dancing in your living room time, the dancing in front of your cat because your cat's looking at you. Are you fucking insane? What the hell are you doing? My cat looks at me like that, right? You know, we come in. It's one of those, you come in, it's after the big concert, it's after everything, okay? And this is where I really have huge respect for everybody and the way that they live, okay? One of my best friends on the planet, kind of this, it's like a super accountant type. And one of the things that we really have in common is that we both think a cool 3-dimensional real-time spreadsheet kind of gives you a little bit of the okay? I know it's weird, okay? But when you kind of accept who you are, one of the things that I like doing is playing with computers that do cool things and graphics, media, okay? But believe it or not, accounting fits in that. And, you know, you can do 3D economic structures and know, holy fuck, am I ever broke? But this is how I'm broke. Wow. That's cool. And I do that for whole businesses like restaurants, nightclubs, you know, pubs and stuff like that. But we both do the same thing. Okay, now picture this. Me walking in with my accountant super nerd friend, and we're both laughing our asses off. We're coming in after the concert / bar / after party / okay, and we're having a day, okay, and it's me and him. And a lot of people look at us like we're diametrically opposite. And I'm like, why the fuck are we opposite? We are not. Just because he weighs like 78 pounds, the guy is like thin. He's like, you know, he's a thin guy, right? He's small and he's really good on computers. He doesn't go to the gym and work out, but he can fucking dance for fucking hours, laugh, fucking really good sense of humor. Okay. And everyone's just like this, right? You know, all right, what are you doing, man? You're going out. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're going out. And I'm just like, hey, me and Tim are going out. And they're just like, wow, Tim, really? Yeah, fuck yeah. And we come in, we're total equals on that one. Okay. And it's awesome. That's what happens when you wake up and give a fuck and you step outside of that thing, okay? Age, weight, religious affiliation, fucking political affiliation. I don't give a fuck. Chances are there are many things that we get along with, and I want to focus on those things, the things that unite us, how we're the same, okay? The opposite of mainstream. I don't want you to dress up when you're hanging around with me because you think you should be more beautiful. I want you to fucking dress up when you hang out, if you decide to, because it makes you feel good. Okay? Everybody feels good. Like, honestly, you feel good. Good shower. You got clean clothes. You fucking walk out and you're kind of presenting. You're like, wow, you know, I feel good today. That was cool. Sometimes that's all it takes to shake you out of a bad mood. It's just, you know, take a quick shower and fucking shed all that shit off and fucking just feel good. And you're just like, you're just you. Nobody's selling you anything. You're not out buying anything. You're just stepping out of the shower. You're going like, fuck, that was great. Okay? That's all I'm about. Equality. Fucking feeling great. And, you know, kind of building those bridges in between what we are, which is everybody who, you know, okay, I get along with people who breathe. I'm just going to hit the point home. I get along with people who breathe, people who drink water, people who require sleep, people who require heat and shelter. I like and get along with people who like clothing, okay? And, you know, they like kind of like a place where they can relax and get along with their neighbors, which we do. En masse, 99.9% of us get along with our neighbors every single night, and they'll hype out the one guy that didn't. And that's the way CFTG works. You see, what we do, and there's a smile. There's a smile. Smile. I want you to smile, okay? What we're doing right now is talking about exactly what we need. Absolute equality between, honestly, the heavy rockers and the accountants, between the left and right wing, between the religious and the atheist. You share more in fucking common with each other. I actually share more in common with me and that corporate asshole who's jacking up the prices. If that corporate asshole wasn't jacking up the prices, we could get along fucking great. but your predominant factor in life is you're a greedy asshole. Okay, and you facilitate greedy assholes who are making kids go hungry. 1 in 5 kids are going hungry right now. And that's the reason why I say we need unity between everybody, because we have such a monumentally huge problem and a very, very small number of people who are enforcing the fucking stupid. So let's fix this shit. Radio Free Canada, we're establishing what we're about. And if you agree with what I had to say, and you can accept people who fuck up and people who are trying to do a good thing and you don't necessarily get along with, you're welcome to join me in the center wing, in the center ring, in the center way of doing things. Mindfully, fucking thinking, but rocking the planet and feeling so good. And let me tell you, most people, if they were given the chance to save the world, they actually would. They would do it. And if I paid you to save the world, I'm thinking we would get a lot of people sign up for that one. The little buzz in the background, if you've got high definition going on, that's the record player. This is music from Styx. Because we knew about it in the 70s and 80s, what we would be doing today. Oh, yes, we did. So we wrote some songs about it. And this is what it sounded like in the 1970s and 80s. Awesome, overproduced music by great vocalists and people who could actually sing and produce and record all at the same time on CFTG.
Listen in the
Music right there from Styx. Too Much Time on My Hand. Dennis DeYoung. It's awesome. If you take a look at Videowalker or discography, all of the albums, when you put them all together, that Styx produced, amazing anthemic stuff. Okay, the production that was behind them, yes, I always make that comment, Styx, ELO, stuff like this, overproduced. It wasn't overproduced, but man, did they ever spend time in the studios. If you want to take a look at really cool studio albums, Toto, the guys who sang Africa, their studio albums were just phenomenal, where they were backing off from the overproduction, but they were making sure that they fucking nailed the sound. And that's kind of what we need to work on. We need to perfect our shit in society. Okay? It's really funny because we're looking at mainstream news, and do you know how they're trying to intrude on us all the time? And they're talking about Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, okay? And she's not really being allowed to say what she wants to say on mainstream, because I've noticed one thing about mainstream. They're just trying to bind up her entire argument as saying, well, it's a right-wing nut bar. And I've been doing politics and, talking about politics and corporations for over 33 years now, since I started in the construction / cooking / media industry, because you always had to have two jobs to pay for one reporting job. And while I was working as a reporter, I covered politics, and we used to ask really hard questions. Now, mainstream news like the Calgary Herald, National Post, CBC, they're just painting Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, as being a nut bar, as a separatist, and she's not. She is right-wing. Yeah, she fully admits that. But what she's saying is starting to make sense. And this, far be it for me to promote one politician, because they're sadly lacking in their entire platform, but they have done a couple of things. One thing, they provided a few extra bucks for really poor families to be able to afford groceries. They're going to give 6 months of groceries to really poor families. That's happening in Alberta right now. They said, no, we're going to start doing some scientific studies on COVID. They didn't say we're shutting down anything. They said, we're going to take a look at these things, and we're not just take our word for it, trust us, as an answer. That's a couple real things. And that's a center wing, the way that you look at things. But check this out. I don't agree with him either all the time. Jordan B. Peterson, of course, is a world-class psychologist, psychiatrist. He's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about, but he has some nut bar ideas. He kind of goes a little bit right-wing, ultra nut bar from time to time. But really, he makes a sense. But he had Danielle Smith on his show. And, being pirate radio, I'm going to steal the signal, okay? I want you to listen. And just listen to what she says, which is, and I'm going to back it up, sociopolitically, what she's saying is exactly correct. He says, what are you, a nut bar? And she goes, no. We were supposed to have a specific relationship during Confederation, and our politics are based on Ottawa not being fucking in everything that we do. Ottawa is not one of a nanny state thing. It's not supposed to be them doing anything that they want whenever they want. We're supposed to be partners in this, aren't we? And so she really had something to say. I want you to check it out, because rockers can think too,
But it's supposed to be a two-way street. That means that the federal government should not be legislating or interfering in our areas of jurisdiction either. And they do it all the time. They pass legislation that is unconstitutional, force us to go to court to strike it down. They are constantly reaching in to whether it's our municipal level of government or our universities or our middle level management in every single department, trying to get funding deals so that we end up compromising what we want to do here in service of Ottawa interests. And at the same time, they show massive disrespect to us as a province in being able to develop our own resources. So I can tell you that Albertans have had just about enough of this. And it's we've had times in the past where we've had Conservative governments at the federal level have been far more respectful of our jurisdiction and our rights. Even we've had liberal governments in the past that were far more respectful of our jurisdiction and rights. The past 7 years have been a catastrophe in our relationship with the federal government. And as a result, we have to take some pretty dramatic steps in order to save Confederation, to get the country working like it was originally intended to work. And that's what the Sovereignty Act is about.
So I'm just going to, I want you to go online. Jordan B. Peterson, Jordan B. Peterson Clips is how you get it. It's on YouTube right now. I'm sure he's got lots of other portals, but it's easy enough for us to get a hold of it. And, it's, you can critically look at this. Now, the interesting part about it is when they do polls. So when you see National Post or somebody, Nanos poll, stuff like that, they have a tendency of not polling 75% of the population. They have a tendency of polling people with, 3 credit cards, 2 mortgages, 1 kid in college, and a large retirement savings account. Okay, that's not most people. Basically, that's only corporate government management or corporate management that actually has all of those things that entail a successful Canadian. And so they only poll those people, and people just say, okay, well, now I'm going to, because I listened to Jordan Peterson or I listened to Danielle Smith, I have this opinion. They don't poll us. They won't poll people after 1960 that were born after 1965 because we are not in the same category. We do not support the people who are bringing you Jordan B. Peterson or CBC News or even your political parties, okay? Because we're not funded, we're not listened to, and that's got to change. But what she had to say is really interesting. She goes, hey, we got to get back to this. We're getting screwed, and it's time to do something. So we are. CFTG is entering the game, and that's one of the things that's coming out. We're going to talk about conservatives, liberals, the NDP. We're going to do it in rock and roll fashion, and we're going to make it a little bit more fun than it is right now. Because they beat that poor old thing just to death, that political thing, and they're not cool. They're not talking about what we need to talk about. And trust me, when you see the new posters that are going out, when you see the new events that we're putting together, well, let me tell you, the song that I've got lined up for you says it straight out. Don't call me an angel, don't call me a devil. I'm not evil, but I got my wicked ways. Join us tomorrow, CFTG. We're going to make things suck less by talking about the truth. The truth is, politics is made to suck so that we're not involved. And the number one way we're going to make the future suck less is we're going to take control of the corporate government bullshit machine, and we're going to offer our own little bright shining light in the middle of their swamp-like bullshit. I am Darren Howard. It's Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's CFTG. Thanks for joining in. Here's a really cheesy heavy metal song to finish things off. I'll see you tomorrow.